Welcome to the first ever edition of my new show called The Family Table. And who better to do it with than one of my best friends. I worked at Iron Mountain with him for many, many years. We've known each other for many years. Mr. John Smith has more than graciously walked us into his home. And why did John volunteer to be the first one? He grew up in Italy. So he's gonna show us two awesome bruschetta dishes that we're gonna make. He's gonna make his mom's sausage and broccolini, and I'm just so excited that John let us in. The first thing that we're gonna do before we go over any ingredients is we're gonna go out to the garden and John's gonna show us this tomato plant. Let's go.
We're gonna do this. I think the cool thing about this is that whenever I cook, I just take the seeds and the skins and the rinds and I just gather them up and I throw them in a pot back here. So we're just gonna take these tomatoes.
And what are these, just like little plums?
These are just little
or
Romas.
little Roma tomatoes? And they just
Roma
popped up
tomatoes.
out of this plant, out of this thing. Because you just randomly throw seeds in there.
I think that's potatoes. We got tomatoes.
We got our tomatoes. More importantly, we got a little bit of vino. Let's go get cooking. Okay, so we just got the tomatoes from the outside. Hilarious. John's got them he just throws seeds in his garden. And as we're walking back in, while Rob's getting the lighting ready to go, I say, man, I can't wait to try this bruschetta. And John says,
let's make sure we don't call it bruschetta. It's bruschetta. So we have to at least call the dish by its proper name.
okay, so he's already corrected me one time. As you can tell, I am not from Italy. But John, talk me through how does this whole thing come together? What do we got?
Real simple, quick, and easy to do for your family
Well, we
or
love
for
that.
friends all the time. We want to get the bread toasting though first. So
Okay, we're gonna get that on a cookie sheet and we'll get that going. What about what do I have in front of me?
we have sun-dried tomatoes in
Okay.
oil,
Okay,
and we're going to use the oil from that to give it the consistency and the taste that we want when we're putting all the ingredients together. We're going to have sun-dried tomatoes,
okay,
fresh tomatoes,
all right.
a little bit of your scallions there, and then some feta crumbles. We're not going to add any salt or pepper because there's plenty of salt in the feta already.
Was this used in Italy, like when you were growing up, or?
We Americanized it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We put a little cheese in it on our own.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a spin here, is what you're.
Yeah, so in Italy they have this bread that's really hard that you actually soak overnight in water or for a little bit of time in water to soften it up, and then they just use olive oil, garlic, and tomato to make it. So we've Americanized the recipe a little bit, just because that's what my family likes. So that's
Okay.
what we did.
Sometimes when I'm eating bruschetta,
Oh, nice.
thank you. You got some pieces that are a little bit bigger. You got pieces that are smaller. Some places, I mean, you got gigantic chunks. How in Italy is it very finely chopped? Like when I'm chopping this, you're gonna set me off on my way chopping this.
So you're gonna make me reminisce here a little bit. I'll tell
Okay,
you what
good.
they do. They take it's usually a round piece of bread in half, and they literally take the tomato and crush it on top of the bread by hand.
Oh wow.
And just do a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of garlic, whatever Italian herbs you might want to put on there, and that's how they do it. It's really a peasant food.
Wow. Okay.
So
they would they don't have a knife. Like they just literally kind of smash it onto there.
They're like my grandmother used to just take the tomato in her hand and crush them and just put it around.
Oh,
By
squeeze
hand.
them. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, just like that.
Wow.
Every morning, like the kid came through the neighborhood in his little
Cart.
wheelbarrow cart thing.
Okay.
And my grandma, everybody lives in an apartment in Italy. So we used to put the change for the bread in the basket, and you would lower the basket over your balcony. You would take the change out, put the bread in your basket, and every morning you would get the bread. And my grandfather used to core the loaf of bread in the morning, and the inner loaf, it's called the malika, it's called the crumb in the U.S., but you take the crumb and he would dip that in his coffee in the morning. That would be his breakfast, and then he would take the leftovers from the night before and put it in the bread, and that would be his sandwich for the day.
Wow.
My grandfather worked in a steel mill in Italy for 35 years.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so we have this bruschetta that I'm going to start getting put together, and then I think you have another simple one for us over here that you're going to put together. Walk me through this one.
This is a cool one right here, and it's easy to make, but what we're going to do is also a nouveau bruschetta, which is, I'm going to put goat cheese. I'm just going to heat it up really for a few seconds in the microwave just to make it easy to spread. And then what I've done here is I just came back from California. I got some California dates, and apricots and nuts right off of the farm, Hadley Farms in Palm Springs.
Okay, so these are fresh from the farm.
They're fresh from the farm. So I've already started cutting it up and mixing it up, and I'm going to make a paste out of it. So we're going to have a little bruschetta with goat cheese base, and then we're going to give it a little flavor with the dates and the apricot mix on top.
Okay, so much like I've had meals with John before, we eat and drink before we eat and drink. So let's get this oven hot. Let's get some of this bread warm. Let's start chopping this stuff up and let's see what happens.
Let's get it on.
So I'm putting the finishing touches on this bruschetta, but I noticed John started washing this broccoli. So walk me through this. I don't necessarily in my brain, when I think about Italian cooking or I think about being in Italy, when you told me, hey man, let's make some sausage in this kind of broccoli rabe or broccolini, I was like, dude, I'm totally in, but what the hell? And I said, don't tell me now, tell me when I get there. So John, what the hell?
So sausage and greens, usually we use rapini or broccoli rabe. Same thing, just two different names. And they're a little bit more bitter, but they're so unique and to the palate that they're really hard to find here in Arizona at the grocery store. So what I do is there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good vitamins in the stalk too. So I don't cut away the whole stalk. I kind of make it slimmer and more edible. Plus it gives it a nice bite when you're eating your sandwich.
Okay.
You just don't want like leafy stuff in your sandwich. You want something that has a nice texture to it, because I think a big part of eating is texture. So I leave a nice piece of the stalk on when I'm cutting it.
Okay, and then I never asked you when we were kind of talking about doing this, how do you actually cook that?
That's going to be one of the secrets to this recipe here.
Oh, see that you're getting secrets that you didn't know that you were getting. You're getting
one
secrets.
One of the things is, like I said, I Americanized a lot of the recipes I made.
Okay.
And one of the things is I boil the sausage to start. Just to give it a good cook, but then I give it a nice outer crisp by putting it in a high heat pan for a little bit, so it gets like that little char.
Yes, that's
on the outside.
yes.
Don't pierce the sausage, because after you cook the broccolini, you're going to put the sausage on top of it, and then you're going to pierce the sausage so the juices from the sausage get on the broccolini for the sandwich. You love me now, right?
I knew I loved them for a reason. I knew we were doing this for a reason. I'm so excited to see what happens. We heard an alarm going off. I think this bread's going up.
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna mix up some of my bruschetta. John's gonna mix up some of his. We're gonna eat some bruschetta and get this sausage going. We got a little goat cheese going down. That was just a little log of goat cheese, right? Just like a 4-ounce, 5-ounce log.
Right.
30 seconds in the microwave.
Right.
Okay, and now just like a little spreader. John grabbed a little spreader.
I just put the paste right on top of the.
Just a little paste right on top.
Yeah, it gets messy, but.
But it's kind of almost like it incorporates itself, right?
It tastes fabulous. One of the things that people like to do, and you might want to do this, is some people put a little creamy balsamic on top of it.
Nice.
And you don't have to wait. You just get in there and you grab it.
Okay, yeah, I'm not waiting, Rob. I'm very excited that this is going to be good. I've never had this before, and if it's good, I found a new appetizer. Let's go. So you got creamy on the front end. Well, first of all, you got crunch. You get these little crustinis, you warm them up a little bit, you got a great crunch. Then you get creamy from the goat cheese. Then you actually get like some nutty sweetness from that date and walnut mixture. Just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. Let's see how I did. You tell me how I did.
Even easier.
Sun-dried tomatoes, tomatoes from the garden, feta cheese, a little bit of that green onion.
Wow.
Let's see.
Oh, this looks really good.
Let's see. And oh, by the way, the reason why he buys those sun-dried tomatoes in the oil, I poured a little bit of that oil in there. I think we said it when we started. Sun-dried tomatoes in oil. The viscosity of the dish, the thing that makes it juicy, kind of the thing that binds it together is that oil. So let's see how it works.
So the oil in this dish makes it sleek, just like the oil in the car.
And you were right when you said it does not need salt. The feta is like a bang. Sun-dried tomatoes like a bang. Then you have that earthiness from the onion. You got the homegrown tomatoes from the backyard that are super sweet. I don't even know that I'm going to be hungry to eat sausage after this because we're about to eat this whole thing. But
You have magic fingers because it came out really good.
there are recipes and things that you did as a child, your aunt did, your uncle did, your cousin did, your mom did, that people will forget as our generations pass on. And then we just order DoorDash, right? Instead of actually cooking.
DoorDash 7 days a week.
Yeah, no, trust me, we're guilty as charged.
I'm gonna go get Well, this is the little favorites board that my daughter made when she was in kindergarten, and you can see her here when she's like 3-4 years old, working with Dad in the kitchen. It was probably 50 pounds lighter then. It's a lot of sausage between now and then.
Weren't we all?
And I have her cleaning the greens. She's helping me cut them to the right size. She makes the whole dish with me, so she's been cooking.
So tell me about that though. Like, did you just, hey, I'm cooking, you guys want to come in the kitchen with me? Like, have you been, it seems like this Rapinian, like, hold on, let me start over. You knew when I posted this, who wants me to come cook with them? You knew that it was sausage and rapini. Why?
So when you posted it, my wife didn't even ask me. She goes, "Oh, I got a date for you with Nick. 'Cause you're going to make the sausage and rapini." So that's how it started.
Well, so your wife knew that that's what you were going to choose, or that's what she would choose.
So
Why?
Yeah, so it's something about the dish that's very flavorful. Everybody likes it. Even the kids will eat the greens when you put it in the sausage.
Which my kids will not, so I got to try this one.
And the bread is, the topper. But then there's an evolution here. Like you just took the picture of Sophia and I when she was making it when she was 3 or 4 years old. Well, she's a 20-year-old now, and
Right.
she came to Seattle when I had my apartment there, and I was working, there in town, and we started doing something called rooftop sandwiches because I didn't have a kitchen in my apartment. So we went to the rooftop of the building, and they had a grill up there, and we would make these dishes, wrap them in tinfoil, and put them on the grill up there, and that's how we would warm them up.
Wow.
And so now we call them rooftop sandwiches.
So you were, it's almost like this dish, what I'm hearing, has transcended the time of your family. Not only like from what you learned in Italy with eating it, so I'm sure there was a ton of sausage in Italy and salamis and pepperonis and prosciuttos and all this other stuff.
Right.
But I see this picture, she's 3 or 4 years old. Then you tell me you're working with Amazon, right? You're in Seattle.
Right.
You're renting an apartment because you live in Arizona.
Right.
So you're working remotely there.
I had a little studio there.
So you had a little studio with not a large kitchen.
Right.
She comes and the family comes to visit. You still want to hold these memories
Right.
and still create them. You don't let the fact that you don't have a kitchen get in the way.
Right.
You figure a way to make family seem like it's normal and that this
Right.
is what we do, right?
It's something you talked about earlier, which is it's a family moment. It's more of an event than it is about the food.
That's right.
This is the food we associate with sitting around, telling everybody what how they're doing, interesting things that happen to them, stories they want to share with the family, and just sometimes it gets emotional. They want to tell us how they feel because these sandwiches or this dish or a lot of dishes in each family can do that. Have like. And I feel it now coming on.
That's right. I'm saying this is the whole reason why I'm doing the family table. You
new-
brought the picture. I didn't even know you had the freaking picture.
I
You
didn't-
brought the picture up, but this is the
Well, that's
whole
what it is.
reason why I'm doing
It
this.
attaches a food to a moment that you can remember and share in perpetuity.
That's
so
it.
it lasts generations.
That's it. So I heard the dinger go off. The bread's almost ready. We're gonna start frying some of this broccoli rabe. And we're gonna find out why this dish was so important to John and is so important to John and his family in just 1 minute. So when you go in with this broccoli, you got a good amount of olive oil in there, I noticed.
Yes.
Do you season this? What do you do to it?
So I just like the taste of the olive oil, and I'll use a little bit of the minced garlic right there that we'll put on, but I don't want it to burn, so I'm going to add it a little bit later.
Okay.
And then the seasoning is the sausage on there. When I put the sausage on there, I'm going to give it a couple pokes with
And
the
then
knife, so the juices will come out of it and hit the broccoli.
Got it.
Yeah.
Does this cook down?
I like it crunchy, so I don't cook it
Okay,
all the
so
way
you
down.
don't cook
I
it all
like
the way
it so it has a little bite to it. Kind of like your pasta, where they say make it al dente.
Al dente.
I like my vegetables al
So
dente too.
broccoli al dente is what we're doing here today. That one's still on, by the way.
So one of the things you notice at times we don't measure.
You don't. Yeah, we're not measuring.
We mush stuff with a spoon and not
Yeah.
a pistol.
Yeah, I noticed when I said how much olive oil when the camera was off, you said that much. I said our crowd's gonna love that because we don't know how much to put in.
Welcome to my kitchen.
There it is.
All right, we're gonna let this cook for a little bit. We want it to be crunchy, but we want it to be sandwichable, if that's a word. So I got a little piece of Parmigiano Reggiano. You always got to get, I like it closer to the rind. I'll tell you why in a sec. But it has to have the timbro, the stamp.
Okay, wait.
The Italian word is,
what?
the Italian word for a stamp, like a stamp, like you notarize a piece of paper.
Okay.
With that stamp on it.
Okay.
It's called a timbro.
Timbro.
Timbro, yeah.
Timbro.
So this timbro here is for the Parmigiano Reggiano, the real deal cheese,
That's
authentic Parmesan.
okay. So if it doesn't have that,
It's something else. It's kind of like playing the field. You take Tiger Woods or the field.
Okay,
If it doesn't have that, it's the field.
it's some other dairy product that they made into
Right.
a cheese. Okay.
So this was my job as a kid. Every night for dinner, pasta's a big deal because it's cheap,
Yeah.
pleasant food. We have pasta 5 or 6 days a week.
Okay.
So my job every night was to grate enough cheese for the family. So this is why you don't pierce the sausage, because we're gonna go to Flavor Town. We're gonna give it a little flavor
Oh boy. Okay.
by piercing it while it's on the broccolini.
So now you just took that sausage out of. You were sautéing it. You were boiling it. You got good color on it.
Right.
And now it's just right on top of that broccoli.
Yeah. So what we did was we boiled it to cook it. We don't want raw pork, right?
Yep.
And then, but I like the outside to have a little char and a little crunch to
As
it.
do I. As do I.
So
1 tablespoon, two.
it's not.
Yeah, it's
we're
not.
measuring.
Yeah.
We're just putting it into however
Yeah.
much
See,
like.
see, there he goes again, just getting on me. We don't measure. We're Italian. We don't measure things. Okay, here we go. This is big.
Yeah.
Sharp
See the-
knife.
See the juice coming out of them right there?
There, Rob. Get in there. Yes, sir.
Nice. So now you get the juice from the sausage on your broccolini.
Yes,
You
yes.
got these are hot sausage, so I'm not going to add red crushed pepper, which is another ingredient that would go well here.
Okay.
So if you're using a sausage that has like a milder, and you want to spice
Put
it
it-
up a little bit, yeah, just punch it in there. I'm going to use my hands because we're buddies. I can do that.
Italian chopsticks.
I take the
Use the Italian chopsticks.
mollica out, the crumb out. This is the kicker right here, dude. You take the bread.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Rob! Don't hurt him, Rob. Don't hurt him. Oh.
So Italian people would drop dead that you're kind of like using your hands and.
Why? What would they do? I figured they would use their hands.
This is not a regular thing.
Yeah.
So you got the olive oil and the juice from.
Yeah,
the
I
sausage.
want colors and burnt and oil. I want everything on there. Oh,
So
this is why I'll never be thin, John.
I'm gonna ask you to
This
cut
is-
up the sausage. I don't want you to burn your mouth while you're eating this thing.
Well, let's let it rest for a little while because we gotta pay homage to what we got here. Look at this.
The
Look at
official
this.
measurement, also called the pinch.
Okay.
Do you want to know the Italian word for it?
Oh God, here we
on,
go.
come on.
There's another Italian word.
Pizzica.
Pizzica. Give me a pizzica on there.
So there's several ways you can do it. Mine is elbows on the counter and grab the sandwich.
We don't do it any other way here, brother. We don't do it any other
My
way.
money, I'm so happy.
Cheers, brother. I'm leaving.
My mommy is a good sandwich.
I'm leaving. If you haven't learned something, we got the date and goat cheese bruschetta. We got the fresh tomatoes from the garden, the sun-dried tomatoes, the oil from tomatoes, the feta. We got the crostinis. Then we got the broccolini sausage with the Parmesan sandwiches on the crusty bread. This is everything that I've ever hoped for. I want to thank you a lot for doing this. What do you got for us to end this out?
So the way you end is you start thinking about your next meal.
Yes.
So your leftover sausage and broccolini, you make some orecchiette pasta tomorrow,
Yep.
and that'll be your sauce for that pasta tomorrow. That's how I'm gonna leave.
Feeding his family in rotation. Sandwiches, bruschetta. I feel like I was in Italian. I had some Italian wine from Francis Ford Coppola.
Thanks for
John, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for attending the first family table. And until I see you again, keep cooking.